Today we're making the best green bean casserole with homemade fried onions. Hi, I'm Tara with Simply Made Eats and welcome to my channel. Today I am so excited to share this new recipe with you. It's not really new because I've been making it for a while, but it's new to the channel. So this is my green bean casserole with fried onions. I was thinking about like the side dishes that I absolutely have to have at Thanksgiving, which there are a few. I love like the Parker House yeast rolls. I love cranberry sauce and I love green bean casserole. The problem is sometimes I'll go to people's houses for Thanksgiving and I get super excited because it has like those French fried onions on top, the green bean casserole, and it always is a fail. Like they're actual green beans, like it's either like canned green beans or it's just like has no flavor. So today I'm gonna show you the best green bean casserole recipe. And I would seriously challenge people on this because it's so good. This is definitely not the easiest recipe, but we're gonna get through it. There's gonna be step-by-step instructions, so stay with me and let's make it. We're gonna get started by prepping our ingredients. This sets us up for success for the whole recipe. So what we wanna do first is we're gonna take 4 mushrooms. We wanna take off the stems and then we're gonna dice up the tops of the mushrooms really nice and fine. I like doing this because even if people like don't love mushrooms, they'll still eat it because there's not like huge chunks of mushrooms. Next, we're gonna dice up 2 garlic cloves, just mince it up nice and fine. Then we're gonna shred some cheddar cheese. I'm using a Cabot white cheddar here. It's aged, it's super yummy, but you just wanna shred this in the large side of the grater and definitely do it yourself because if you buy a bagged cheese, it's just not gonna melt as well and the recipe won't turn out as good. We're also gonna be prepping our onions, which we need for the fried onions. And all you wanna do for this is we're gonna keep it like the whole onion. We're not gonna slice it in half like we usually do. You wanna peel it, and then you're gonna slice thin slices like you would do onion rings, but just a little bit thinner. And then you just wanna push these all apart so that they're all by themselves, nice and single. We're gonna dunk these in some buttermilk in a little bit and get them soaking. Then finally, our last prep work is we just wanna wash our green beans. If you bought the ones that are already trimmed on the ends, that's fantastic. Sometimes there's like 1 or 2 in there that didn't get trimmed. So make sure just to pop off the end of that. And then I like to just pop all these in half, just break them. They snap super easy. Just break them in half. That way we have a little bit smaller of a green bean to work with. I am a huge fan of blanching my green beans. So we're gonna get started with a large pot of boiling water. Just go ahead and bring this to a boil. We're gonna be cooking our green beans in here for about 3 to 4 minutes, just until they're a little bit tender. Then we're gonna transfer them to an ice bath. We are also gonna preheat our oven to 350 degrees. When you're prepping your ice bath, it's super easy. You just need a large bowl like this, and then just use like, this is probably like 3 cups of ice. Just pour that in. And then I just add about 3 more cups of ice cold water on top. This is gonna help to shock those green beans. Once they hit this ice water, it's gonna stop them from cooking, which is what we want because we don't want mushy green beans. Nobody wants that. Once our green beans sit in that water for about 3 to 5 minutes, we're gonna go ahead and drain it, and we wanna stick our green beans right into a casserole dish. Next, we're making our creamy green bean casserole sauce, and no, we're not using canned soup in this. We're gonna make our own homemade version. We're gonna melt some butter, then we're gonna cook our mushrooms for about 3 to 4 minutes, add in some garlic. We've got some salt and pepper in here. Then we're gonna make our roux with our butter and flour. This is gonna make it really nice and thick. Next up, we're gonna add in our milk, and you wanna slowly add this in and then really stir all those chunks out. It's gonna get really thick on you, but don't worry, we have chicken stock that we're gonna use to thin it out. Next up, we're gonna dollop in some cream cheese, which just adds in that extra layer of creamy, yummy flavor. And then finally, we're gonna top it off with our cheddar cheese. And we just wanna stir this up really well until it's all nice and melted. Next, we're just gonna pour our saucy cheese over top. This thing is so heavy. Then we're just gonna give this a good toss. You want those green beans really coated in sauce. Next up, we're gonna top this with the remaining cheddar cheese that we have. And then this is gonna go in the oven for about 20 minutes at 350 when we fry up those onions. While our casserole is baking, we are gonna get our fried onions ready. If you don't wanna do this step, if you don't wanna fry and do all the things, you can just buy the French fried onions. They're still super yummy. But what I'm gonna do is just use a little bit of buttermilk. I've got 1.5 cups here. I'm just gonna mix in about 2 teaspoons of hot sauce. I'm just using like I think it was like Texas Pete. This just gives it a little extra flavor without having to do too much to it. So we're gonna stir that up. And then I am just gonna pour this right over our onions. I like to just kind of push them down in there a little bit so it is completely covered with buttermilk. We also have a cup and a half of flour. I'm gonna add some salt and pepper to that too. I like to do about a teaspoon of salt and 1/8 of a teaspoon of pepper just to give it a little bit of flavor. If you want them spicy, you can also add like some cayenne pepper in this, but it'll make it a little bit hot, so just be ready for it. Just give it a good stir. Next up, we're gonna preheat our oil. I'm just using about 2 cups of oil. We don't need a ton here because we don't need it like submerged in the oil. So I'm gonna heat this up. I want my oil to be 350 degrees in my Dutch oven. You can use a candy thermometer like this. It's really important to have it because you want the oil to be the right temperature. If you add them in early, they're just like gonna get sogged down with oil and they're not gonna taste very good. Then I like to just get a cookie sheet ready, and I'm just gonna take my tongs, or you can use like tweezers, and just grab a batch of these, and then you're just gonna pop it right in the flour and really coat them. You want them super covered. Once they're covered, just transfer them right over to our cookie sheet. And then we'll do the next batch. I'm gonna fry these in a couple batches too. I always feel like they do better when you fry them in a few batches rather than just sticking them all in at one time. They love to like stick together too, but that's kind of what the French fried onions do, so I'm okay with it. If you're like freaking out thinking like, I can't do this all on Thanksgiving, like I would do this the day ahead of Thanksgiving. You can do the fried onions a day ahead. You can do cranberry sauce a day ahead. It saves so much time the day of. You can even get like the sauce ready and put the green beans in it and then just wait and bake it the day of Thanksgiving. Super easy. I'm all about having things ready the day ahead. Especially if you have a lot of people coming over and it's like gonna be a stressful situation. Go ahead and just get everything done. All right, these are ready to go in the fryer. When that oil is nice and hot, as soon as you put it in there, it's gonna drop a couple degrees. That's totally fine. You only need to cook these for a few minutes and they're gonna come right to the top and be golden brown, and then just transfer them to a paper towel lined plate or a tray. You guys, these are so good. I could eat just this and be happy. This just came out of the oven. I like to broil it for a couple minutes after it's done baking just to get the cheese really nice and gooey. Our fried onions should still be really nice and hot. If they're not, just stick them in the oven for a couple minutes just to warm them up, and then we're gonna top our casserole. I like to use the full onion for the topping because that's the best part, so why not? That's it, we're all done with this green bean casserole with fried onion recipe. I hope you guys love this one. Let me know in the comments if you make it. Everybody will rave about this one like forever. They'll want it at Christmas time too. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure to give this video a like and make sure to subscribe for new recipes every single week. I love sharing them with you. Thanks so much for watching. Bye. This is so yummy. The green beans are cooked perfectly, and then we have the crunch from the onions. Perfection. This will be everybody's favorite. I promise.